Hello everybody. Hi, this is a little bit surreal, a little bizarre. I'm recording the lecture. As I said in my email, my grandfather has passed away. Those of you who emailed back condolences or messages, thank you. Appreciate that. I just don't want to get too behind on lecture because of having to head out of town for this, so I'm going to go ahead and post a lecture online. It's a little bizarre. I've never done this before. Unfortunately, the room I'm doing this in, I have to kind of hide out from the kids in an office at my parents' house down in southwest Missouri. It's a little bit bright, so I know I kind of look like a ghost on the recording. I just can't figure out. I have lighting issues. I need a director or something to get in here and fix all this stuff. But mainly I just want to get the content up, let you guys go over the lecture. As I mentioned in my email, we're going to skip the DuPont case, and we're just going to have quiz number 7 be about this online lecture content. So that's what we'll be doing on Friday when I get back into town. There's a small chance that I won't be able to get back by Friday. If that does happen, I'll email out and I'll post another lecture. But as long as everything stays on course and as planned, I should be back on Friday, and this should be the only lecture I post for this class. This actually will get us caught up. So if you have a computer, obviously you have a computer, you're watching this. That was a dumb statement. Go to Blackboard and download the Measuring Outcomes of Brand Equity, the lecture that we're looking at, so you can have the PowerPoint up while we go through this. I have the PowerPoint up on my laptop, so I can be looking at it. When you see me look over this way, I'm looking at the PowerPoint, making sure that we're all on the same page, and then I'm talking about what's on the PowerPoint. So if you remember, we were talking about in class almost a week ago now, we were talking about how to measure different aspects of brand equity. We've talked about how to measure from a consumer perspective, and I presented that value chain where it started with marketing activities, then you went through this market multiplier, and then you had consumer value mindset built and consumer multipliers, and then we were talking about some market outcomes, and that's mainly what we're talking about here. It's how to measure some of the market outcomes. So we're going to touch a little bit on valuation, shareholder value, or a little bit on how to, from an accountant's perspective, how to value a brand. So we talked about brand-based comparative methods, where you give a consumer two different things where you're manipulating or changing something about the brand. Either it's an item that's unbranded, like unbranded water, and then branded water, and you assess attitudes or preferences to the water. Or it's Dasani, and then it's the same exact thing, except it says Aquafina, or it's the same exact thing, but it says vitamin water, where you're switching brands. And we talked about this brand-based comparative method. This is the last thing I talked about. In one class, I'm a little bit farther ahead. I touched on the critique in a little more detail. But in both classes, really, we haven't talked about the critique of this brand-based comparative method that much. So if you go to slide number 5 on the PowerPoint, that's what we're going to talk about first. So the advantages of the brand-based comparative method, one of the main advantages is it holds everything fixed except for the brand. So it can really be an effective way to isolate the value of the brand. And this is especially helpful for things like brand extensions, proposed new marketing campaign, when you're doing some change from past marketing. So maybe you're doing a new logo. Like Pepsi just updated their logo. They came out with kind of this Obama-esque logo. And they probably did some comparative marketing research to see what sort of effect that change would have in comparison to the previous logo on attitudes, preferences, etc. Moving on to slide number 6 now. Some things get sacrificed, though, as part of this process. You get rid of some experimental realism, especially if you're using fictitious brands or an unnamed version. You don't drink unnamed water, so it's kind of an artificial comparison to some degree. And additionally, you'll often highlight part of the product or part of the brand that's not particularly important, or it's getting focused on in a way that would not naturally or typically be focused on. So you're looking at comparing a bunch of logos, and you get some sort of response to a comparison of a bunch of logos. But really, you don't sit around comparing logos. It's very artificial. So one of the issues with these comparative methods is that there's a large degree of artificiality, and you have to realize that, and they don't represent or don't recreate real-world purchasing, situation, and decision-making that effectively. The other method that's used a lot is marketing-based comparative methods. And in these cases, the brand is fixed, but the marketing activity is changed. and then you look at the consumer response change based on that change in marketing activity, where if you think back to this value chain, think back to our marketing communications model, your goal is to change consumer mindset with this marketing communication activity. And what this method allows you to do is see how that consumer mindset is going to be changed. What sort of strong, favorable, and unique associations are going to be created because, of course, the brand exists in the mind of the consumer. Even online. I'm going to say it every class. So often these are pricing changes. So you just assess different prices and see how perception changes, remembering the link between price and value, quality expectations and perceptions, etc. And you want to see how much of a price premium in some cases consumers are willing to pay. Will they pay another nickel, dime, whatever? But you also look at advertising strategies, executions. Brand extensions are often tested this way with different brand extensions. There are a variety of things you can do with this comparative basis. So I'm not getting a recording right now, so I'm going to stop here. I don't want to waste time recording the rest of the lecture if I'm not actually recording someplace where I can find it. So I'm going to pause for a second, and then I'll come back with a whole new recording, assuming this is working. So 1 second, guys.